Well, cheers and good morning. It is Tuesday, April 29th. This is an NBC 10 coffee break. I'm Alison Bologna. You can see I'm joined live, or will be joined live in just a few minutes by our own Jean Valicenti and AJ Mastrangelo. But first, our top story this morning that we do want to mention is that an historic building in North Smithfield went down in flames. We brought this to you because it was breaking overnight on Sunrise. It started at Sales Hill Road. Take a look at this. It was quite the scene. Overnight. This is the Sales Hill Road Rod and Gun Club. This was overnight, right near Route 146. Temito Badalea was reporting on this morning and basically said the firefighters had a lot of trouble putting out the fire. It took quite a few of them, but luckily at this time, this is under control. So this is the Sales Hill Rod and Gun Club that was overnight near Route 146. But when we got off the air from Sunrise this morning, it was pretty much put out, including some remaining hot spots. Good thing the weather cooperated, AJ. There wasn't a lot of wind. So luckily, all they had to do was basically put water all over it, and they got that fire down. You are outside right now in the parking lot. How fancy at NBC 10. And it's a beautiful day, beautiful spring day. What can we look forward to this morning?
Yeah, so we're seeing above average temperatures once again as we continue through the rest of the day, Allison. Already 70 degrees at the airport. Well, we haven't seen a whole lot of wind through the morning hours. Really, just within the past hour or two, we've started to see those southwest winds crank on up, already 30 miles per hour above. You can see behind me the trees moving a little bit. So with this wind, as well as the low relative humidity, there's elevated fire danger heading through the middle of the day into the afternoon. So no outdoor burning. You need a permit nonetheless to do so during this time frame. But yeah, we got a gorgeous stretch of weather. We continue these next few days looking like temperatures will be remaining a little bit above average. Our next rain chance that looks to come as we head for our Friday, unfortunately, into the weekend too. Also, Storm Team 10 blog recently about some of the hummingbirds making a return. So if you want to see a video regarding that, you can head to our YouTube page for more information. But a gorgeous day outside. Temperatures going to be above average, likely in the mid 70s for parts of the region as we head for the afternoon hours. A little bit cooler along the immediate coastline, but Allison, definitely a very nice day to get out and enjoy. What we really just have to be careful of is any fire ignition sources. Oh, look at that wind. Wow, that knocked over my tripod. That was a good save here. But you can see my hair is going a little bit crazy. It's definitely a little bit breezy out here, so keep that in mind heading out today. Gene and Allison, I'll send it over to you guys.
Gene, action news right there.
You just made an Instagram video. You don't even know about it. That'll be all over the internet.
But it's windy out there. Yeah, it's windy out there. AJ, thanks so much. Hi, Gene. Good morning.
Good morning, Allison.
Oh, did you know I sprained my ankle?
I saw the video of you taking the trip. Was that?
Did you enjoy that?
Was that your neighbor's ring cam?
That was my doorbell camera catching me at my neighbor's house. So that'll be fun.
You were coming back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What did you trip on? Was there
my dogs got locked in the car, so I was running after them and I just tripped.
Yep.
Gracefully, I'd like to add gracefully. So.
You didn't go on your you didn't like face down. You did okay.
No, but I did a hard sprain, but I will survive even in this windy weather for sure.
All right, good.
Let's talk about a couple of things. The funeral for Senate President Dominic Ruggiero. You and I both knew him pretty well because we were reporters for so long in this state. Yes. Were you covering it yesterday? I wasn't in yesterday.
Well, we had it mentioned. It was a well-attended funeral in North Providence, where he's from. All the legislators and people were there, family and friends. He died at the age of 76 after a battle with cancer that started last year, or at least confirmed to us last year. And he held on to power, and I guess he went out the way he wanted to go. You know, he wasn't forced out. There was a failed coup to force him out, but he held on, and there was only kind words for him for the past week since news of his death. Kind words yesterday. But now the real action starts, the jockeying and maneuvering to replace him. And as you and I speak this morning, it's Val Lawson, who was his Senate Majority Leader, is favored to get the seat, get the leadership position.
And is running for it.
Only got 2 votes. I mean, she's got a 2-vote margin. So I don't know if they're going to peel those away or whether she's going to face a challenge. Right now, as you and I speak, she's the favorite to get that.
How long is the process? Do you know? When will we know?
Well, I think we'll know by the
end of the day. Right?
I think we'll know
by the end of the day? Okay, I thought you were going to say the end of the week. All right. And then we know that Senator Frank Chacon is going to be most likely the Senate Majority Leader, correct?
Yeah, he was in the running to be the Senate president, but he bailed out and supposedly cut a deal with Val Lawson. And that third person, Ryan Pearson, he's in the running as well. I don't think he's got the votes as of when we're speaking right now. But keep in mind, he used to be Dominic Ruggiero's number 2.
Right.
He was the Senate Majority Leader. He was up and coming. He had the leadership's nod. He was in the closed rooms, but then he mounted a coup last year to try to take out Ruggiero. He said his health is failing. It's time to go. It was an unsuccessful coup. He was dispatched to the hinterlands, and that made room for Val Lawson. So you got if you're Pearson, you got to wonder, should I have just kept my mouth shut for the past?
Maybe
I
it seemed to work out better for Senator Lawson.
Yeah, it's curious, Alison. I was just listening to talk radio, and there's all kinds of talk about the media covering up for Joe Biden's cognitive abilities. Now it's coming out. Now books are being read. Now everybody knew about it. And a caller just said, well, was that like covering up for Senate President Ruggiero? Was he up to the job? I don't think it's the same.
Well, I think people knew he was sick. I mean, he was out for a long period of time.
Yeah, we all knew he was sick, and we all knew that he was hanging on to power. So there was no kind of cover-up angle.
Right.
Somebody was on the news conference with me in January, and you could tell that cancer had taken its toll. So it's interesting how the public thinks sometimes. But, I don't think.
Well, speaking of that, let's, anybody watching right now, listening, definitely put in your questions, and we can put comments in the chat, and we'll do our best in the next few minutes to answer those too. But he did hang on to power for quite some time.
Yep.
4 decades in service.
Yep.
Dedicated to Rhode Island. So.
Well, listen, you can't tell his story. He came out of the unions.
That's correct.
The unions lost a friend. However, they're gaining a friend in Val Lawson. She's the president of one of the big teachers' unions.
Right.
And there's a debate over whether or not she should be the Senate president and the president of a union at the same time. Even Ruggiero gave up his union affiliation, union job, when he took over that job. So.
Even though they are part-time legislatures, but that goes back to a whole nother argument, of course.
Part-time, but full-time when it comes to the issues, right?
Right, absolutely.
The only ones we have.
Correct.
So that's really controversial for her.
All right, so let's see how that works out. Maybe she'll make a move. Maybe she will. It would be cleaner for her, I would think. Don't you think?
But that's a lot of money to give up.
It is a lot of money to give up.
Livelihood, I think,
and
it's
power.
a $160,000 job, I believe. So
sure.
She's going to be rushing to give that up.
Day 6 of Karen Reed.
Yes.
It was on the Today Show. I think they spent 3 or 4 minutes on it. The Supreme Court, yes, a good chunk of time. The Supreme Court saying no to her double jeopardy claim.
Yeah.
So yeah, it moves forward as we've expected it to do. You've been following it every single day with Katie, who's been in the courtroom up in Dedham. Any surprises for you?
No, not really.
Me neither.
It gets in the weeds, some of this stuff. And yesterday they had accident reconstruction people testifying, but without the jury present. And we discussed that a little bit on our daily debrief, which you can hear after 5 o'clock on our YouTube channel. But I asked one of our legal consultants, for those watching at home, I think I'm just going to ignore that whole part of it and try to concentrate on the real important stuff. And the important stuff they told me yesterday was this arguing over when a Google search was actually made by someone inside the house to find out how long it takes a body to die in the cold.
That's probably the most famous quote in the trial, too, even from the first trial. Yes.
2418. There's a second search submitted using the same method. So still using the Safari search bar. This time searching for how long to die in cold.
Was it made 2:37 in the morning before Karen Reed came back around 6 a.m.?
Right.
Or was it made after 6 a.m.? So you could see the significance of that. And as for she lost her appeal, her double jeopardy appeal before the U.S. Supreme Court. She was saying the jury indicated that they were going to find me not guilty on a couple of counts. So therefore, I ought not to be retried on at least those 2 counts. But the Supreme Court said, well, you may have some merit, but Massachusetts law is pretty specific as to how that would have to have been dealt with in court at the time. So they turned it down.
They turned it down. So and there's nothing she can do about that. It's over that part of the argument.
Higher than that. Yeah.
That's it. The Supreme Court. All right. I know you grew up with dogs. I know your daughter wanted dogs, and you, bad dad, did not give them any dogs.
Yeah, but I told her, take that up with your psychiatrist at some point.
Or should I say, Diane didn't want to deal with the dog.
Diane didn't want a dog. And,
to be fair,
the kids grew up without dogs.
Okay, well, how do you feel about therapy dogs? And here's why. There's a furry new friend, a canine officer at the Newport Police Department. And I got to tell you, this dog, Bo, is gorgeous. Yeah. Chocolate lab. Look at those eyes. This is big on Sunrise when we talk about dogs and our furry friends. But yes, a canine officer. He's going to be coming into the station. Listen, these labs do great work. So we just wanted to introduce Bo to the community. Do you think Diane would approve of a dog like Bo at home? The Valicenti household? Gorgeous dog.
I think she would like Bo. I just she said, I'm not walking him. You want to get a dog, you get a dog, but I'm not going to.
It's a lot of work. Hence my sprained ankle.
Yeah.
I had two of them.
I had a couple of dogs when I was a kid. So you
like dogs, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Sure. Well, I like dogs. But what's he going to be doing for them?
So he's going to be a canine dog. He'll be certified to do outreach events, school visits, sensitive calls. He's also going to be trained on the harder side of things, kind of not the soft skills, but the harder skills to sniff out explosives too. So
all right, now you have a dog. What's your dog's name?
I have two dogs. I have Betty Bologna. She is 11. She's going to be 12, and she's a 18-pound, half Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, half Pekingese mix.
Right.
And then I have a beautiful yellow lab named Basil Bologna. I have a story about that real quick, Jean. So my cousin, Tracy, had a brown lab similar to Bo here, and then had a litter of 9. So I have Basil. Tracy kept another yellow one. My sister Jessica kept a black lab named Luca. And then my other cousin kept another black lab. So of the 9, 4 stayed with the Bolognas. So that's pretty cute, right? Basil's, my dog's beautiful. Our executive producer, Dan, just left, and he knows he's met Basil.
I had a German Shepherd mix, Mike.
It's a big dog. Okay.
And then I had a Weimaraner. You ever see a Weimaraner? Their skin almost looks like velvet with blue eyes or pink eyes. Oh, beautiful dog, floppy ears, very friendly disposition.
Well, listen, the kids are gone. I think you guys should get a dog.
Well,
get you outside exercising.
My brother has a Doberman.
Anthony,
and when people hear Doberman, their ears go up straight like the
they're
dogs.
Big dogs.
He's fearful if they've been in movies, but it is the gentlest dog you'd ever want to meet. It's the biggest friend. Now you want to open something controversial?
Okay.
On my radio show, we've had debates on whether or not your dog loves you as much as you love your dog, or is love a human emotion? And the dog is incapable of love as we know it, and is simply responding to you as a caregiver. Yeah. You feed it, you care for it, so it loves to see you. And you know what?
My dogs love me. Absolutely.
Dr. Dan the vet on WPRO comes on, and he says there is some scientific basis as to ascribing a human emotion to an animal. Does the dog really love you, or is it responding?
Okay, Jean, you just ruined my morning.
Just go ahead. What do you think of that?
I think they love me.
Well, I expected you to say that.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, I think dogs have feelings. My mother, her health isn't really great right now. And my dogs, I think, are sensitive to that. They're very gentle with her, and they spend a lot of time with her. I mean, dogs are therapy dogs, too, for a reason, too, right? It's not just because they're following an order. Look at when they go into a school. They don't necessarily know the kids, and the kids aren't always giving them treats, and they cozy up to them. But I think it depends on the breed. And I think it depends on how the dog is raised.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I think.
I would, if I got another dog, I would either get a Doberman or a Weimaraner, and I'm favoring the Weimaraner now. So
I'm gonna text Diane. I think it's good for you guys. You live in a nice neighborhood. You can go out this time of the year, do a little bit of walking around. I'll meet you. We'll do some Blackstone Boulevard walks too. Yep. Once I get out of this boot, which I blame on the dogs. Oh, I meant to ask you also about Governor Dan McKee. He's addressing Anchor Medical today. I did not know Anchor Medical had about 25,000 patients. I had no idea it was that big. I always think Brown Health, Coastal Medical, but about 25,000 people. We already have a physician shortage.
Yep.
And Dan McKee's trying to get in front of this because a lot of people, I don't know if you've had friends ask you, but they've been asking me several, who's your primary care physician? Because I can't find anybody since they were with Anchor. So it's a real issue.
I know people who moved to Rhode Island. They needed help getting a doctor, and I recommend mine, and he's swamped. It's a problem. Listen, you and I both know a lot of doctors, and if you're out to dinner with them, they're complaining about how much they make in reimbursements.
In Rhode Island, because it's different in Connecticut and Massachusetts, definitely.
It's lower comparatively, and they'll say, why should I work here in Rhode Island? I can open an office in Seekonk or Swansea, or further south, I can open one in New London or Stonington. And you come see me, I'll still be your doctor. It's not that far to travel, but I'll make more money. It's a real problem here in Rhode Island. Now,
and it's been that way for years. And we keep hearing at the State House that they're going to deal with the reimbursable rates, but nothing has nudged right now. So that's something that has to be dealt with, I think. And the governor needs to get in front of it, especially if he's going to run again. So
now there
which he is.
25,000 patients that need to find a new primary care doctor. And you know how insurance works. You have to go through your primary care doctor
before anything else, right?
I think this, we don't like to throw the word crisis around, but it's a crisis.
I think so. It's a real problem.
He's speaking right now. We're taping around. It's 10:17 as you and I chat. He's speaking right now. We'll recap it tonight.
We will. I'm also at noon as well. Yeah. And then there's the whole debate about concierge doctors, right? If you can afford them, because then you get access to them. But there's actually not a lot of concierge doctors in Rhode Island either. I don't know if it's a bigger state kind of thing.
They don't take
no,
insurance.
You pay a flat fee for access for the year. Some of them do bill out to insurance, but not all of them. But it's this whole idea of having a doctor really spend time with you, because the argument is there's so few doctors, you're in and out of an office so quickly, and you're just going in for a quick referral to get something done that's dire. So it's not a great situation. And doctors are also going to tell you they're spending too much money on malpractice insurance, and it's just not something they want to do anymore. One of my best friends from college is an ER doctor, a pediatrician in Chicago, in one of the big hospitals. And I hear stories from her even out there about how dire the situation is, for sure. She does a couple days a week, but she's actually thinking about, her choices.
Yeah.
People become a doctor, right, for all the right reasons, you think, and then it just becomes a real problem when you're not making enough money when you should be.
Well,
so
my friend's son is a doctor, and he's doing his residency here in Rhode Island. He wants to stay in Rhode Island, and we ought to give him a premium to stay. Imagine he's going to put down roots, and he wants to become a general practitioner. Good for him, and good for all of us.
Oh, well, plenty of work then. Open up your own practice, and you should. Well, maybe you should go concierge then. I hate to say it, but there's a business model there to be had.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll stay on top of that. Actually, it was Senate President Dominic Ruggiero, right, who wanted to open up another medical school.
Oh, he does. Well,
probably a good idea.
He spoke about that last time I had him on 10 News Conference. He saw that as a real legacy thing. He was serious about it, opening a medical school at URI. Now, that's a heavy lift.
For sure, yes.
You need tens of millions of dollars. It takes years, accreditation and everything. But maybe they'll get the ball rolling on that. It was so that we could grow doctors here.
Right.
Grown docs who might stay in Rhode Island. By the way, you said the texts.
I'm looking at comments right now. I don't think I'm looking in the right place, to tell you the truth, but Dan will tell me if something comes through. We can also go backwards too. We just started it today.
Because usually, when we start talking about dogs, and
I know usually it blows up, right?
It lights up my phones on talk radio.
Well, we just started this format on our YouTube channel, so it's got to build a little bit, I suppose. Can Jerry go away? Jerry has a seat now, huh?
Jerry is my little what do you call him?
Chair.
Marionette.
He's graduated to a chair.
And he's holding the Lost in Space robot from my childhood.
Oh, I can't see that from here, but okay.
I still have to give you a tour of my.
I have not seen that room. No, I'm curious about that. No, but I want to do one of these from my attic. Of course.
Tom Tucker.
Yes,
yeah.
Of course. I want to do one of these from my attic too, so you can see my little design stuff that's going on.
Nice.
All right, guess what? That's it for us right now. Beautiful day. Hey. Get outside. I'm going to do the same. And I'm sorry we were supposed to have lunch yesterday. Some stuff came up, but we'll rebook.
All right. We'll do it again. I've been eating lunch all my life. So.
I was looking forward to a little glass of wine with you yesterday, Gene, and Chef Terranova, actually, but we'll rebook. Thanks for understanding.
All right.
Going on. All right. Ciao for now, right? Ciao for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.